welcome everyone to the inaugural event for 2022 for the Vancouver Power BI on Modern Excel User Group Meetup. I'm super excited to have my friend Cristiano with us to kick off our year and get us started here.
That's right.
Before we get started, I'll just give you the agenda briefly here. So we've already done the meeting's opened. Obviously, we're now into the welcome and overview. We'll be into the feature presentation about 5 minutes or so, depending on how long Ken talks. And then Cristiano is going to talk to us about data analysis with Microsoft Excel. I thought it would be kind of interesting, though, just because it is January and seasons are different around the world, to sort of compare before we start here how Cristiano and I actually started off our days. So taking a quick look here, this is today, and Cristiano's morning started like this. So he decides to go off and go riding around on a motorcycle in the sun, which I think is pretty good because this is how my day started today. And I can't say I'm loving this. Like, I live in the tropical part of Canada, is what we always tell people. And even though it's not in the photo, the house to the left of that actually has palm trees for real. They're covered under snow right now. And I'm like, that snow came in over last night, so I had to dig my way out of a ridiculous amount of snow this morning. So, Cristiano, you win on this because this is not fun. I do not recommend. Anyway, I know, although I'm seeing John Pelcher here, he's probably just laughing, going, "That's all the snow you got, Ken? Well, I can do better than that." But anyway. All right, so I want to kick off with a big thanks, as always, to the sponsors that make this user group possible, in addition to our featured speaker, of course. Excel Guru is the one that pulls these meetups together. SkillWave is our training division. If you are looking for awesome training on Excel and Power BI, you definitely want to check out our platform. Microsoft obviously does a lot of stuff with us, so we appreciate their support. And I always want to throw out a quick nod to Monkey Tools, which is my Excel add-in that will help you build bigger and better business intelligence models with Power Query and Power Pivot faster, and audit them as well. So if you're into that world, you should definitely check that out. Our next topics that we're going to be having coming up here on January 20th, Joseph Yates is going to be giving us our Power BI track talk. We're going to be talking about Python integration in Power BI. For those of you who come to these sessions, you know that Joseph is usually the guy that does the what's new in Power BI and does the quick roundup of the newest and latest features that are coming through there. So for that reason, we've actually recruited someone else to go and do our what's new next time around, and that is going to be none other than Matt Allington. So we're super excited to be welcoming Matt to do the what's new in Power BI for January. So. And then after that, our next Excel topic isn't actually really going to be an Excel topic. I didn't realize that I put myself on the list, so I had to come up with a topic really, really fast. And I just actually managed to successfully make something work with Power Automate. So even though I'm not an expert on this by any means here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go walk through a bit of a demo on some of the things that I did in order to use Power Automate to take action on a Microsoft form submission. Some of the pitfalls and challenges that I ran into along the way, as well as the cool stuff that actually worked. So my section is going to be not Excel focused necessarily, but Power Automate focused. So keep that in mind coming up. Just want to let everyone know as well, if you are looking for training on working with Power Pivot and Power BI to build awesome self-service business intelligence models, the next semester of my self-service BI bootcamp kicks off on the 18th, so it's only about 12 days away. If you are interested in this, this is a fully coached program where we actually have live interactivity as well as some video for on demand. It's a massive program, has a lot of hours of time that you can get, plus regular Ask Me Anything sessions for an entire year for you. If you're interested, you should definitely check it out. You can find the link there, and it is in the slide deck, which has already been posted up to the Meetup site. In addition, we also have a new product that we're launching at SkillWave as well. This is going to kick off on February 15th. The Self-Service BI Bootcamp is very much targeted at people who are intermediate to advanced users looking to take their knowledge to the next level. But we also know that there's a big gap. If you're working in a company where there's a lot of people that work with Excel and haven't had training, what you'll find is a lot of people sort of count themselves as intermediate or expert, but they really need their skills rounded out. If you are in that situation and you feel that that applies to you or maybe to your team, we actually now are just launching this new fundamentals bootcamp, which is specifically targeted at taking people from beginner up to an intermediate level in Excel. We look at formulas, we go and we look at Power Query, we look at pivot tables, some charting and different things like that to try and give people a good basis so that eventually they'll be able to actually go into the whole SSBI kind of thing. So if you're interested, check out the page there. It's got all kinds of details, and we will be kicking off that semester on February 15th. Again, with AMA sessions, Q&A sessions, live coaching, everything else. So should be. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really exciting. Last thing I want to say is if you're not busy, riding around on your motorbike or shoveling snow, and you think, hey, it would be really cool to go and actually be involved and do a presentation of your own on our platform, we would love to have you. We are currently trying to recruit people to speak at VanPug for the 2022 season. If you're interested in doing that, please fill out the survey here. We'll get in touch with you and we'll get you scheduled because we always love having new people come and talk to our crew here. All right. And on that note, I think that's it for me. So I'm going to throw this back to Cristiano now. Super excited to be welcoming Cristiano to our platform for the first time.
Can you hang in the pocket a bit before you pass the ball? I am curious about that link. The link went away.
Which link is that, Oz?
To speak. To fill out a form to speak.
Oh, hey, I can absolutely give you that. Hang on one second here. Let me just go and throw that right into the chat right there, Oz. Boom, done.
Oz, just send him an email.
Well, he could do that too, but yeah, he doesn't know where I live. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Oz. Appreciate it. The link is in the chat. All right, Cristiano, I can see your screen. I feel like you're ready to go.
Yeah, let's go. Hello, I'm Cristiano Galvão from Brazil. I'm right behind the smile of this picture on the map. And this is more about one of the mornings here this week from the new view in Sao Paulo. Not Rio de Janeiro anymore, but I always go to Rio. I'm one of the MVPs from Brazil. You can find me on the Microsoft page or by the redirect link, cristianogalvão.com. And you maybe don't know me, probably, almost sure, because I don't have so many videos like the other guys, but I came from the in-person events. This is one of the pictures. I have lots of pictures here. I could spend lots of time showing. But this is just to express how I miss the local events on these pandemic times, and I hope I have the opportunity to see you in Canada or in the United States. We in Brazil are a very warm people. So I'm the organizer of the Excel Weekend. Last edition this year was online, including lots of guys like Campos and John Peltier, Oz, and other famous guys here. Faraz, you can check on the website, which is available in English, Portuguese, and Spanish. And today we are going to discuss data analysis in Excel. The talk that I prepared is not like teaching because many of you are experts. So it's more about open mind to possibilities because very often we live in a bubble. We are very good in a specific tool inside Excel, but maybe we are missing some points. And this is what I would like to bring to you today. Okay.
One more thing. Sorry about this. I don't see the chat. I see participants, request control, open the share tray.
Yeah, that sometimes happens, Oz, with Teams, and I know that a while ago somebody sent something into the DL, the Excel DL, on how to actually go and clear the cache and restart Teams. But honestly, I don't remember where that chat is. I don't really have a good suggestion for you. It comes and goes, and then unfortunately, sometimes the only way is to actually shut Teams down and rejoin. So,
all right, I'll just I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, Cristiano.
Okay. On this moment, I'm studying an MBA on data science, so I must confess that I have been flirting with R language, a little Python, but I will play more with Python. And people used to say, where is Excel in this scenario? Because everyone is talking about R language, and this is the R Studio that I have opened here. It includes some exercises, and very often people say, and they ask me, why people would learn this, why people would like to see and instead of Excel. I'm liking this very much because I program for a long time. So we have here, for example, a function reading a workbook, an Excel file. And for you who speak English, I suppose it's very easy to recognize lots of comments. But try to figure out a person who doesn't know English. It's like you see something like this. If you see something like this, you probably will feel a very different sensation. It means open file. It's in Portuguese. So when people here, especially in Brazil and other countries that are non-English language, people feel this sensation here when, and I'm talking about one of the first commands inside this script, right? This is how people feel when they open our languages. So this is a barrier to learn, especially for us in another language. So let me try something here. I'm going to run just a piece to see what this thing can do. We have here some object. It's like a variable. And this is the table inside the R Studio. Not seeing the screen, just the desktop. Everybody can see here.
yeah, I can see your screen, Cristiano. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe a bug. But just to rename a field here, we have some operations. It's like trying to learn M language from the scratch instead of opening Power Query and record the steps and then later starting to see the comments. So this is why I think this is not for everyone, maybe for programmers, those who think on being data scientists, right? I'm not going to run here. It's just to discuss the barriers. We have, of course, very powerful stuff here to bring statistics. But for those who are into Excel, they will feel more comfortable to play. I should bring something about DEX, but the picture here that I bring about DEX is this, because this is the Vancouver Meetup ran by Campos, and I will reserve the rights to avoid falling into the cage with the lions, right? You know that he is one of the greatest of authorities on the matter, so I'm going to skip DEX and try to think out of the box, try to think about things like real-time data, for example. This is one of the things that I see just a few people do inside Excel, how to analyze data in real time. And the short answer is data streamer. I'm going to show some demonstrations here. This stuff behind on the picture is the Arduino board. We could use Raspberry Pi or whatever. Arduino, I think it's easier to start. And this is how it looks when we take a look closer. And this is from the Microsoft website. I don't have the board here. And since we are going to talk about other points, I don't have the board here. But this is a demo from the Microsoft Hack STEM. Let me write down on the chat. Microsoft, if you Bing or Google this, you will find more. Hacking STEM. And this is Excel reading data from the sensors. When people move the hand, we can analyze this data in real time. And they have lots of fun stuff, especially for young students. And in different areas, they use Excel to read the data from sensors. And we can control some devices as well. We can write data to the device. But I think the main purpose and the fun stuff is about reading, because we can analyze and then prototype some stuff using Excel that we know, everybody knows. Both examples I'm bringing from the Microsoft website that you can find with the keywords that I'm writing on the chat. It's very easy to find this. So you can download the data sets, you can download the projects. You don't need to draw a fan or a hand from the zero. This here is how to enable the adding. It comes inside Excel, but it's hidden. So you just go to Excel options. Let me go back. File options. Then you go to add-ins, but it's COM add-ins. Then you press go and you find Microsoft Data Streamer. And this is how you enable. We don't really need to have an Arduino board to test it, because there is a feature that allows us to read a CSV file simulating a device. So if you are interested, we can go back to this tool here. And then I open a CSV, I can share a file to you, and then you can try to read. You will see a cascade of numbers, like the matrix. Everybody is watching or talking about matrix. You see a cascade of numbers coming to the Excel, and you can build charts, statistical function formulas over the data, and this kind of stuff. This was during one of the Excel weekends. We are using devices to do different stuff. Let me play this here without my voice, of course. This is Bill Jelen with me in New York City during his visit. And we have here a distance sensor with napkins. As we get closer to the sensor, we can change a chart. This is stuff here, like two small eyes of the Wall-E, I think. There is an animation with a robot. It looks like two big eyes. And this is how it looks. The cascade of numbers that I was talking about comes on the spreadsheet like this. On this example, this is very simple, one device. I'm using only one channel of numbers, but we can have parallel numbers coming from different sensors like humidity, proximity, and whatever. Okay, let me show another stuff here. This is one of the custom charts that I made with the same device, which is a little better than the line chart that everybody does. This one I presented in a local event in one of the universities around here. There is a data streamer behind the scenes, but the user doesn't need to see the cascade of numbers coming. Here, this is the name of the tool if you want to write down. Data streamer is the name of the add-in, which is, just to remember, a COM add-in. Because maybe you forget to change the drop-down menu to COM add-in, and so you will see solver and the classic one, and then you will ask, where is data streamer? So just to write down. And then talking about something more, let's say, democratic maybe, we have the analyze data, which Osdo Soler is a huge fan. Osdo Soler loves this too. Let me open Excel again. Woo. That's right. Who? Yes, yes. I have something open here, but let me close. You can open your Excel if you want, and you don't need to download any data set here during this demo because you have home, and then inside the home tab, you may have analyze data or ideas maybe. Or maybe you have analyzed data, but the icon, maybe it's lightning like this, depending on the version that you have. If you press analyze data, it will say that the sheet is blank, but the tool offers a try sample data that I'm going to press now, and you can do the same. And then voila, we have this file that we can play around in case we don't have a good data set to play with this tool on this moment. And then, of course, if you see just the data set, we can't answer good questions just by looking to the numbers and the categories. Which category is selling the most, or which one is the highest sales? And I see a question here. The icon is blurred. You mean disabled, grayed out. Maybe you are writing inside a cell. If you are writing here, it will be grayed out. Just double check, press ask twice, escape key. Then it should be available. Oh, okay, now it's working. So you just press analyze data, and you see the try sample data, which is a green button. Then once you press the green button, try sample data, you will have the same data set. And then now look into the right panel here, we have lots of small reports. It looks like we have just maybe how many we have here? 1, 2, 4. But we have even more here on the other results. We can press this here. Let me just control the time. Okay. Then you have 9 more results. But before checking at the bottom, this thing here, I think it's interesting. We can just click here, insert pivot chart, and here we go. We have not only the table, but also the chart pointing out that accessories is selling way more than the other categories. This thing here for people who are not into data analysis, this is very powerful. And they can learn from the opposite way that most of us started learning. You probably learned pivot table, then the pivot charts. They can start from the report and then learning the other stuff. Oz Soler is asking, oh, okay, you have the chat. Good, excellent. Now you can blame me about analyze data. maybe reverse engineer. Yes, we can start from the end and learn with the results. Then we come back to, hey,
Cristiano, can I just make a quick comment? If you can go back to that chart for a second, just for people who
Yes.
haven't seen this, one thing to be a little bit careful about with these, because it's really cool, and I love the title, and I love the fact that they've actually put the orange word on accessories in the title. But the one thing that's disappointing with these is that those titles are static text, which means that if you go and filter accessories out of the pivot table, the accessories line disappears, and it still says category accessories has noticeably higher sales, which is kind of a challenge, I think, with it. So it's got some cool power, but you also have to be aware that it doesn't do everything for you, unfortunately. So
exactly. Yes. This is something very immediate. And for example, when we are studying our language inside the R Studio, we have a couple of lines of codes that we use to repeat them with the different data sets to see variance, the distribution, the behavior of the data. There is a couple of commands that we always run to check the health status of the data sets. I could say that this thing here, analyze data, could be similar to the purpose of the lines that we always run with the R language, but this is easier to the basic users because they can press a button and see, hey, what's going on here on my data set? Because in the end, look, I never saved this file. In the end, they can close and open a previous version without saving anything. So maybe for basic users, the analyze data, I'm not defending all the tool to everyone, right? It's just to align, to level the expectations. So maybe the small business owner who doesn't know lots of Excel stuff, he could run analyze data to see what's going on. And then later he could deliver some tasks to the analyst to do a chart which the title is dynamic. So it's something made for the basic user. For example, the frequency. This is like a histogram, right? Some people can't even to interpret what's going on here, or like this other here. This one is interesting because it's hard to detect an outlier, just look into the table. So, hey, we have something here. Who is this guy? Rating point, this number here, 637. Okay, we can use the filter now to see who is this guy, why the number is so different. And then maybe this is a mistake. Maybe, oops, our lock is off. Maybe this is just 3, 6, and then we could correct something that, of course, it will not update, but we should press again the analyze data, and it will disappear, right? This is the kind of stuff we could do with the analyze data. And we don't have the outlier anymore here, as you can see. So the kind of charts, as Ken Field told us, they are not, this is another thing here, but they are not so dynamic, but we can always run again the feature, right? Interesting answers to see what's going on with the data. And let me run this with another data set, something bigger that I took from this website here, New York Open Data. Let me copy and paste the link to everyone. This is public, so I can show it's real, but it's public. Everyone could get the data coming here from export. You can use CSV, or you may try the Excel file here below. I have a copy here. So let's try to open. I have the CSV, so let me open with Power Query because it's better than trying to. Okay. Load. I'm not going to treat any data, just to load this amount of data. I know that we have a huge fan of the tool here, so let me try something. This is, I wouldn't say huge data set, but it's big, okay, big. Comparing to the regular user, we could say it's a big data set. If we press Analyze Data here, we have an oops message. Too much here. Too much of a good thing. So there is a limit on the tool that I could and I should tell you how to overcome if you want to get an insight over this data set, which is way bigger than the sample data, right? The reason is you can't have more than 2 million cells. This is wrong, right? I forgot how to write down million. It means that if you have 200,000 rows, you should keep no more than 10 columns. And then what is the core of this data? What is the thing you would like to analyze? Maybe the status, and maybe the industry. And then we could try something like, hey, let's get the data, the dates, and then pressing Control, we could pick some different columns here and then try to analyze data again. Let's try to do this here. Not 3 columns here. Let's spare this. And then let's try again. So the same message comes here. We could go back, try again. But the thing is, we should use continuous column to analyze the data, like I'm doing now here. It means that if you have some targets to analyze, you should bring the columns to the beginning of your file, and then, depending on the size of the data set, of course, you could have good insights at the distance of 1 click, like I'm doing now. For those who can't create their own pivot tables, this is highly valuable. And if you work in a company as a full-time specialist, you should maybe suggest to people that they can have this tool to start a first analysis, and then for the stuff like Ken Pose pointed out, oh, let's create a dynamic title on this chart. You could start to play with the problem, but the number of calls, the number of tickets to you would decrease if you teach a little about this to your internal clients inside your company, right? So the secret here, if you want to analyze some data from the end, is just to bring the column to the beginning, and then you do the selection here and run the analyze data. We have some comments here coming on the chat. Okay.
Cristiano, do you know whether or not I thought that this thing actually had a requirement to be online, but I'm actually looking at the documentation. I can't actually find anything that specifically says that. It says that you have to have an Office 365 subscription, which leads you to believe that is also probably the case. But I can't remember if you needed an internet connection or not.
I can make a test here. I can disconnect and test here.
Yeah, maybe not. As a feature speaker, you should probably stick around for today.
I'm always connected. Good question. Good question. I'm always connected, so it's so normal to be online that sometimes we don't think about it. But it's a good question. I believe that it sends the data to the Azure to analyze, because there's a couple of features.
I know they've said specifically to me in the past that they don't send the actual data itself. They send some metrics around it, so they'll analyze it and say, like, what kinds of values do you have? Are they text? Are they numbers? What's the change? And then what are the columns? Like, how many columns do you have? And things like that. They send that, not the actual data, or else they never would have been able to pass all the privacy regulations in order to embed it in the main product. But I'm still pretty sure that they have to send something out. I don't think the whole thing is internal.
Yeah, because it's too much. It's too much data here. And it's so fast, so it looks like it's processing internally, right? But about online, I remember now to mention something that I think it's interesting. The analyzed data is available on Excel Online now, and this is impressive because it's not a basic tool. If we think about the work to develop this is the state of the art. So it's impressive to me. And this thing here, this is not available in all the languages. The NLU NLP, natural language processing. We can ask how many active business we have. Depending on the question we do, the answer may be wrong, and this is the kind of thing Osdo Soler always asks us to pay attention, right? Because this is the count of rows. Yes, am I right about the kind of issues that you point out often?
Exactly.
Okay. So we should double check the kind of answers we have with the questions we write here. I know that Microsoft is always perfecting this, but we should double check if this is right. We can do this easily with a filter. And one funny stuff that I see during all the trainings, I always ask to everyone, count the numbers of the category you are filtering. And what they do, they select the column and they look here on the status bar. And if it's text, they subtract one. But we don't need to do that because experienced users, they know that the number is right here on the left, right? There is no need to select anything. So on this case, we have a different number here. So license status, look at the title here. License type is business because the question that I made is how many active business we have. So we should select only the business. I wouldn't say the answer was wrong, but depending on the context, some people would define individual as business too, because they are an individual company, right? So this is the kind of question and answer that we should double check what we are receiving as the report, right? I'm sure Osdo Soler would have even more examples. We could explore this, but yes, you have some funny stories, but let me show the other stuff and then we may go back in one of them. About correlation, we have some correlation with this tool. Let me go back to Excel. I don't like to go back and forth to PowerPoint. Let me focus here. This kind of correlation. Correlation is the kind of thing we could say that is not cause effect. Correlation is not the reason for the effects. It's like saying that everyone who drinks water die. It's not cause effect, right? They can happen in parallel, but it's not necessarily cause effect. I have this small data set with a list of courses. Most of them are not free and others are free. Actually, it is opposite. It was inverted here, but it doesn't matter. This. So we have some fictitious courses. Most of them are free. The attendance is lower. And then some of them are not free. They are paid. If we analyze data, we can find something here. Is there a correlation? I'm not seeing this answer here. We could try to use the function correl, like. And then I could try this here, this here. But wait, we should have numbers to compare, and we have text here. So we could replace this thing here. Yes will be 1, and no will be 0. Just a binary column to try the correlation here. And then we have this number here. As I tried to invert the 0 and 1, it's negative, but we could invert again, and then you should see a high number, which means the data is correlated. Maybe now we could try to analyze data again to check if there is a correlation on this data. Not always the tool will bring the correlation. Okay. We have some other tools here. For example, to make forecast. Let's suppose we have a history of some stock, or maybe USD BRL. BRL means the Brazilian money. Okay. This is the last price. I could try the stock history here. Starting from, let me write down here, December 1. Stock history. I'm just being lazy because I don't want to get a table on the internet. Let's try our real data by using this function here. Okay, too much. The end date will be this one here. Okay. Now we have some real data to analyze. Let me open the formula again. So if you want to do the same, this is the formula that I'm using. But before the formula, I wrote USD/BRL on the cell A1, and I pressed the icon at the top, the stocks here. After writing down the USD/BRL, I came to this exchange, like a house, but this is the stock exchange representation, the icon. Then you get the stock exchange symbol here, and you can invoke the stock history from A1, starting from maybe December 1. Remember to put 21, and then you can use the current date on the second cell, and then you have a table, and you can create a chart, right? And insert a line chart here. But, and about trends, what's going to happen with this data after? We don't know, but we have some different forecasting techniques to try. We can try some formulas. There is a forecasting function, but we can also try using this thing here. Let me select again. Blank, blue screen. I have been playing with the Portuguese version, so man. Okay, data tab and forecast sheet. This may happen when we play with more than one language on Excel. So inside data tab, have the forecast sheet. And you can use this to try to predict what comes next with this data. Forecast sheet, and then you have some parameters. This is the confidence interval, and the forecast is starting here, but it finishes on this date, right? We can try to increase this here, and we will have more stuff. This kind of forecast for this series, the series is not so beautiful because the numbers are not changing a lot. When we analyze data that has seasonality, we will see the same behavior coming again here. I told that we have some forecast functions, and then speaking about that kind of reverse engineering to learn from the results, we can see the forecast function here, and then we can tweak the result to change and adapt to our need. So instead of trying to understand how to build the formula from scratch, we could use this click and get the result. And then we could learn from the scratch. Let me build a little example here. Could have 10. And then we will have, no, this here. Right. If we try the same thing with the data and forecast sheet, oh, we must label here month and sales maybe. Forecast sheet. Oh, sure. The message is about evenly spaced. We should have more data here, and let me try something like this.
I think you need real dates in that column, not just month names.
Yeah. That's right. Thank you. That's what happens when we improvise. Thank you very much. February. Yes, that's right. Thank you. Data forecast sheet, and then now we have the forecasting, detecting, predicting seasonality here. And this is good to try with something like Bitcoin. Are you playing with cryptocurrencies? I'm not investing yet, but I know lots of friends who are trying to get some money with this stuff.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah. Tell me when you become rich. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna come down there and tell you face to face.
Yeah, and they have Shiba and Dogecoin and all that stuff. You could try to get some previous data to see what this tool in Excel could bring you as a forecasting, and then you could even increase the end. On this case, we are working with monthly data, so it doesn't make so sense to try to predict 2024 because all the economy will change. But if we have some daily data, we could get something interesting here, right? This is the forecast sheet inside data tab. And with this feature, we can start understanding how to use the function. So we are learning from the end to the beginning. And then we are here. Let me show you the analysis tool back. This is one of the things I told about on the Global Excel Summit last year. I even used this old font, the old font, when I wrote since 2007, because the tool is available inside Excel for a long time, and I know lots of people who never used. And before I show a little bit, because we are almost in the end, I would like to leave the recommendation of the book, Statistical Analysis with Excel for Dummies, from Joseph Smiller. It's German name. Statistical Analysis with Excel for Dummies. I made the technical revision of the Portuguese translation. After the translation, we have to review all this stuff. And this book is very detailed about every kind of analysis we can do with that tool. But as I told you, I'm not here to teach all the details, but to open mind to possibilities. So inside the Excel add-ins, this time is not COM add-ins, it's the regular one. You just go to File Options, Add-ins, Go, and then you click Analysis Toolpack. And here is Solver also enabled. You just click. And where is the analysis? It's not the analyze data from the Home tab, because this is a new feature. Inside data, you have data analysis. It's not analyze data, it's another command here. Data analysis together with the solver, and then you can play around. The VBA is to bring more feature inside the VBA, but this one here is a new menu that you can click and play around without touching code. We have lots of things here. Let me get the descriptive statistics, but we need a data set. So I'm going to get the first one here, this one. This is the sample data set from the analyzed data, and I'm going to try something here with the data analysis. Descriptive, the font is so small. The descriptive statistics. The input range will be this. We have to select in a different way. One statistical option. Okay, summary. And let's get something here. At least one non-numeric data. So let's select all the stuff and try again. The message is input range contains non-numeric, so we must get only the numbers.
You can't include the table headers.
Yes. So this is what's going on with the number of sales without including the label, right? This is the kind of analysis that we always run with our language or Python for those who are into Python. And it helps to understand the behavior of the data. But I'm not going to talk about the statistic behind this. I really leave the recommendation of that book that I can write down here on the chat, right? Statistical analysis with Excel. And we have something here like correlation. The same example of correlation we can try to check with this kind of tool. Is the rating correlated to the sales amount? Maybe we could check here with the correlation, and the input range will be, we have the input range and the output, of course, but if we do this here, it will show something like this, right? This is the analysis tool pack. We are almost in the end, and can pose, make the questions, and we finish after the questions.
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton of questions here. The only question that I see in here that hasn't got a definitive answer on it yet is, have you ever actually used the analysis tool pack with VBA side? I assume it just allows you to script the things through VBA. Is that right? Do you know?
Could you repeat again? I was trying to see the caption because you were talking fast.
Yeah. So the analysis tool pack, like I understand how the analysis tool pack works to install this stuff and get this in, but the analysis tool pack with VBA add-in, what does it actually do? Does it just expose the analysis tool pack to so that you can call it from VBA? Is that the deal? Do you know, or?
I'm not so experienced on this analysis tool pack on VBA, because when I started to see the possibilities of the other data analysis, this one here that I'm showing now, I started to work a little less with VBA and more with Power Query and other stuff. So I don't have the experience to answer this, but this is something that we could do a sequel of this talk. It would be nice. It would be nice.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't use VBA nearly as much as I used to since I got Power Query either. But I mean that
Yes.
would be my guess, Henry, is just that for the analysis toolpack VBA is just that it allows calling it from VBA functions, but you'd have to test it. I don't think it does anything differently. I think it just exposes more for you. So
Yeah. I suppose it's just an exposition of the same objects with VBA, right?
Yeah, as Philip pointed out, though, too, the problem with the analysis tool pack is it does all its calculations and just dumps it into the workbook. And so if you adjust the data or you extend the data, the results from the analysis tool pack don't reflect the new data. They reflect what the data was the moment you press the button. And
It's like this thing here. This is just a pure number and not a formula.
Exactly. And a lot of this stuff that it calculates, you can do with formulas in Excel. So I have always done it with formulas in Excel and not with something static like the analysis tool pack. And, you know, I've never been a fan of the 1980s formatting of the analysis tool pack output. And, you know, just to me, it's just not a pleasant experience. So I never use it. It's harder to write your own formulas, but.
Yes, I feel very comfortable by listening to this from you, because I was thinking you would start telling about all the NASA stuff that you do with VBA. And if you say that you never used, I feel better to before sleep because it's late here.
I always find it disappointing when I say it's a stats question. I'll just go ask John. He goes, I don't know. I'm like, come on. I seem to recall, like, way back before 2007, wasn't there a couple of functions that only existed in the analysis tool pack?
Yeah, like the engineering functions and a bunch of other things.
And I seem to remember EO month was one of the ones that was in the analysis tool pack that wasn't in Excel by standard. And in 2007, they changed it so that those functions would work even if you didn't have the add-in checked. And I mean, EO month is one of my accounting go-tos. I love that function.
Great.
So, but I haven't checked the analysis tool pack checkbox, I think, since 2007. So,
yeah, I once in a while I go and I look at it. And it's like, how did that get checked? And I uncheck it. But
yep.
You know, I mean, it's a nice, handy set of tools if you don't want to spend a lot of time writing formulas, I guess. But you know, if I ever, I don't do a lot of this kind of statistics anymore. But when I did, I would like even make a template, a worksheet that had the formulas in it, and I would insert it where I needed it. And in fact, I probably had written my own add-ins that would insert the template and link the data to the inserted worksheet, and then you'd have some dynamic calculations going on.
Speaking of dynamic calculations, Cristiano showing data streaming.
Yes, I'm running the data streamer with a CSV file. And if we play here the data, we will see the same effect that we have with a board and a lot of sensors. We could change the speed here because on data streamer we have a config setup tab, settings tab, and we can play with the speed, and even here advanced we have some settings, but on this case it's a CSV file, so we don't have all the settings available. But this movement here is the same thing that you see when playing with real devices. The data set that I have here is just a collection of columns you can create with rand function and save as CSV, and then you can import with play data here.
The chart would be more fun if you showed the historical data by columns, because then you'd have all these different colored lines and you could see them creeping across the screen.
Yes, we could increase the number of rows here if needed, like 100 rows, and then we could import again. No, not this one, not this one.
He's a brave man modifying his demo on the fly for you, John.
Yeah, we have a bug here, as you can see, because
look at that.
the lower part is empty, but we could do again and the famous close and open again. And we can create all sort of analysis here. But before, let me increase.
I mean, keep the number of rows because we don't want you to break it again.
Yes, I think I should report this.
Yeah, see, it's
no,
all the new rows are.
The bug
it's got
to my mind.
It fills up from the bottom up. Oh, okay.
Yes, the bug is on my mind because I like to change this to newest first. It's not the default, but I always in my projects change it to newest first because I like to imagine a cascade of data like the matrix.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. See, this is what I had in mind when I made my comment. And
yes.
Then you chart that data and you can just see it creeping along.
Yes. Now it makes more sense to me. The newest is on the top and then they fall instead of a negative cascade. So this is what we get. And then we can create the chart and whatever, play with the gradient colors to have the lower part red and then the other better. But this is to another session because I don't want to abuse of the time that Ken Pose gave to me today. Farah is explaining, breathing. Yes. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here.
Oh, thanks for coming, Cristiano. We appreciate you taking the time and whatnot. And this is certainly eye opening. I hadn't done any playing with this kind of thing at all, and now I'm going like, I don't have time to go and buy sensor boards and start playing around with this kind of stuff. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I hope to come back and learn way of things, lots of things about DEX with you because I know that you are the guy. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm more the Power Query guy, but we have DAX people that come here all the time. So it's a free ticket for admission, buddy. Come anytime you want.
Yes. I'll be done with the schedule of this year, and I will come to participate.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Cristiano, for coming and giving us your time and putting together this thing. Lots of cool stuff in here, and I hope that everybody's found it interesting and entertaining and whatnot. And yeah, I guess we'll shut her down for the evening from the official program here. So I'll stop the recording now and then if people do want to stick around, by all means, I mean you're welcome to.